Hi, this is Jillian. Thanks so much for being interested. This is just going to be one take, my exact practice, the way I do it every morning. So I'll add a voiceover in case you want to do it along with me and enjoy.
I like to start off my practice with cat-cow, just normal cat-cow in a tabletop position. And you could do any movements that feel intuitive here. So I like to make a motion like I'm wagging my tail, kind of flossing through the hips. Just feeling out the range of motion in the spine. So a lot of my practice is kind of more traditional, robotic, almost asana. And I like to start out my practice this way with these more fluid, complementary movements. Plus, it's first thing in the morning, so you can take it slow. Feet together, knees wide, hips back for child's pose. And then coming up to kneeling for a second variation of cat-cow. So the knees could stay wide. You can almost pull on your knees to help spread the shoulder blades wider. Then slide your hands back to lift the chest. Maybe also taking some circular movements here. Then knees together and release the hands. Flip the palms to face up. Third variation of cat-cow. So trying to get the arms behind the ears. You can lift the shoulder blades up and drop them down the back, opening through the shoulders. And then pushing the palms forward, rounding the spine, spreading the shoulder blades wide. And again, lifting the palms to face up, arms behind the ears. Hips to the left, arms over to the right for a side bend. Still keeping the arms behind the ears, chest lifted. And switching sides, hips to the right, hands to the left. Back to center. Arms back, chest lifts, and arms forward, release. Hands forward, hips stay over the knees for puppy pose. Chest to the mat, chin to the mat, armpits melting towards the mat. Sliding forward onto your belly, hands behind the ears. Inhale, lift the head, pull the elbows back. Exhale, lift higher and lower down. 4 more. Lift, elbows back, arms back, and lower. 3, elbows back, arms back, lift up, lower. 2 more. Lift the head, elbows back, arms back, lift even higher, and lower. Last one. Lift the head, elbows back, arms back, lift and hold. Feet together and lower down. Hands under the shoulders, coming to downward dog. So you can take any movements here, getting comfortable in the first downward dog. I like to take my feet as wide as the mat and wiggle my hips back and forth. Rolling forward to plank and returning to downward dog. So you could do a spinal wave coming forward and moving the hips back. You can also drop the hips down into an upward dog. Repeating a few times. Rolling forward, hips down, chest forward, hips up and back, downward dog. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Bend the knees, stack the hips. Take some rotations of your ankle. Right leg down, left leg lifts. Bend the knees, stack the hips. Take some rotations of your left ankle. Returning to downward dog. Right foot outside your right hand. And I like to do 5 circles in each direction here. So you could also do this with the back knee down. It's just kind of another form of hip flossing. Right leg back, left leg outside the left hand. And 5 circles in one direction. And 5 circles in the other direction. Just feeling for anything that feels sticky or stuck. Downward dog. And we'll move through a variation of Surya Namaskar. Right foot forward, left knee down. Lift the arms, lift the chest. Open through front side body. Hands down, step the left foot forward and fold over the legs. Inhale, reaching up, stretch up, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, folding over the legs. Right foot steps back, right knee down. Bend the knee. Look up, lift the arms, lift the chest. You can linger here. Hands come down, left leg steps back, and take a vinyasa. So you could linger again in your upward dog. I like to rock my hips from side to side, opening through the front of the hips. Returning to downward dog. Left foot forward, right knee down. Lift the arms, lift the chest, inner thighs towards midline. Right foot forward and fold over the legs. Inhale, reaching up, lengthen through your spine. And exhale, fold over the legs. Send your left leg back, bend the knee. Look up. I like to press into the top of my back foot to activate the leg. And take the hands down, step back, take a vinyasa. Again, you could pause in your upward dog. First looking over left shoulder. And then looking over your right shoulder. Downward dog. Exhale. Bring both feet forward between the hands, forward fold, and stand up. And at this point in my practice, I like to do 5 rounds or so of Nali Kriya. So I usually do 5 rotations in each direction and then switch sides before taking my next breath. So inhale, exhale for a rest. Inhale fully, exhale fully, and find Uddiyana Bandha and find the rotation. Inhale, exhale. Inhale fully, empty the lungs, find Uddiyana Bandha, and then rotate 5 times in one direction, and then switch directions 5 times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, empty the lungs, find Uddiyana Bandha, and take the rotations 5 in one direction. Switch sides, 5 in the other direction. Inhale, exhale. Inhale fully, exhale, empty the lungs through the nose, Uddiyana Bandha, and Nali Kriya. Release, inhale, exhale. Feet together, arms up, interlace the fingers, release the index, cross the thumbs, and send your hips to the left, fingers to the right for Ardha Chandrasana from the Ghosh tradition. Trying to keep the chest lifted, arms behind the ears. Feet are together, toes touch, heels touch, inner thighs squeezing towards the midline. Pulling your left hand with your right hand. I usually stay here for 10 breaths. Back to center, grow an inch taller, and exhale, hips to the right, fingers to the left. Pulling the right hand with the left hand to lengthen through the entire right side of the body. Strong legs to support you. Back to center. Inhale, look up, and then lift the chest. Start to back bend. When you can't lift the chest anymore, squeeze your butt, send your hips forward. Keep lifting the chest up. Legs are really strong, glued together. And lift the chest to come up. Grow an inch taller, inhale, and exhale, forward fold. Take your hands to cup your heels, forehead towards your shins or ankles. Release the hands, and coming up, arms by your sides. Be still. It's like a mini standing shavasana. No movement. Second set, arms up, interlace the hands, hips to the left, fingers to the right. I don't hold the second set quite as long as the first set. Back to center, grow an inch taller, inhale, exhale, hips to the right, fingers to the left. Back to center, grow taller, look up at the hands, lift the chest. And when you're ready, squeeze the butt, send the hips forward. Keep lifting the chest. Keep squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. And you're looking at whatever you're pointing to on the wall behind you or the floor. Lift the chest to come up, unwind, and forward fold. Hands cupping the heels, forehead towards the shins. Shifting a little more weight forward into the toes. Coming all the way up, arms by your side, second standing shavasana. Just feel what has shifted. Chair pose, step your feet 6 inches apart, arms forward, palms point down, sit the hips back, drop your tailbone to lengthen the low back. Inner thighs as if squeezing a block, come up onto your tippy toes, heels stay over the toes as you lower the hips down. Keep trying to drop your tailbone down, stretch your fingertips forward, and come up, heels stay over the toes, lower the heels an inch from the floor and squeeze your knees together. And start to sit the hips down, keep squeezing the knees the whole time. Try to keep your hips above your knees. Squeezing the knees as hard as you can as you come up. Lower the heels, step your right foot in, lower your arms, be still. Second set, right foot steps out, fingertips forward, sit the hips back, drop the tailbone down. Imagine you're squeezing a block between your thighs. Come up, heels over the toes. Keep the heels over the toes as you lower the hips down. Fingertips stretching forward, tailbone stays dropping. Coming up, keep the heels lifted. Squeeze the knees together. As you start to sit the hips down, hips stay over the knees. Keep squeezing the knees together the whole time. Squeezing as you come up, separate the knees, lower the heels, step right foot in, lower the arms. Be still. Arms up, swing right arm under the left, sit the hips back, right leg over the left for eagle pose. Squeeze your arms and legs as hard as you can. Unwind, release the arms, reach up, and exhale, left arm under right. Sit the hips back, left leg over right. Squeezing as much as possible to create more space in the hips and the shoulders. Releasing, coming up, unwind, inhale, reach up, and exhale, be still. Standing head to knee pose. First, balancing on the left foot, lift the right leg up, hold under the foot, kick the leg forward, bend the elbows, look down. You can try to take your forehead towards your knee, rounding the spine. So ideally, your right leg is parallel to the floor here. Mine's a bit high. And reversing step by step the way you came in, like a little robot. Second side, left leg lifts, hold under the foot, press the foot forward, bend the elbows, shift the gaze, and if possible, forehead to knee. Reversing step by step the way you came in. This is the side that's much harder for me. It takes a lot of concentration. And exhale, be still. Second set, right leg lifts, fold forward, hold under the foot. Kick forward, bend the elbows, shift the gaze, forehead to knee. Ideally, the lifted leg is parallel to the floor. Mine's a bit high. Reversing exactly the way you came in, like you're playing a movie in rewind. Second side, left leg lifts. Meditate on your right leg, hold under the foot, kick forward. Bend the elbows, shift the gaze. Try to get your forehead on your knee by rounding your spine, gaze to the navel. Lift the head, straighten the elbows, bend the knee. Bring your foot down to meet your right foot and be still. Exhale fully, empty the lungs. Standing bow pulling pose. Pick up your right foot from the inside, lift the left arm up, shoulder to ear, and start to kick into your right hand. Left arm swims forward. Keep kicking from the inner butt, inner thigh. And kick to come out, knees together, feet together, left arm down. Second side, pick up your left foot from the inside, right arm up, and kick. Kick into your left hand, stretch the right arm forward, chin to shoulder. And kick to come out, knees together, feet together, arm down. Be still. Second set, hold the right foot from the inside, left arm up, kick, chin to shoulder, kicking from inner butt, inner thigh, twisting above the navel, kick to come out, knees together, feet together, left arm down. Pick up your left foot from the inside, right arm up, and start to kick. Pulling the chest open, very active back bend. Eventually 2 straight legs. Kick to come out, knees together, feet together, arm down, exhale, be still. Standing balancing stick, arms up, palms together, step forward on your right foot, point your left toes behind you, and shift your body forward like a T shape. Trying to keep your left hip down, reversing the way you came in. Step back. Step forward on your left foot, point the right toes behind you, and shift forward like a T shape, balancing stick pose. Trying to keep the right hip down. Reversing, coming up, step back. Keep the arms lifted for a toppling tree. Step forward on your right foot, point the left toes behind you. Separate your palms and swim your arms behind you, trying to lift your left leg up into a split pose. Reversing with control, arms up, palms together, step back, step forward on the left foot, separate the palms, shift forward, trying to make a split pose with your legs. Right leg really lifts from inner butt, inner thigh. And reversing the way you came in, arms up, step back, arms down, be still. Turn to face the long edge of your mat for separate leg stretch. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold forward. Grab your heels from behind if you can. Pulling the navel deeply in, spreading the sit bones wide. And if you need to step your feet in more to make it more challenging, you could do that. From here, I like to also do a wide straddle, so spreading my feet very wide on the mat to stretch the inner thighs, adductors. You could stay here for several breaths. Reversing into wide-legged stance, arms up, inhale, exhale, arms by your side, arms up, feet wide for Bikram triangle, palms face up, look at your left hand, take your right hand between your big and second toes, lengthen through the low back, tuck right butt under, coming up, straighten the right leg, bend into your left knee, and find your Bikram triangle on the left side, lengthening through tailbone, tuck left butt under, chin to shoulder. Coming up, straighten the leg, arms together over your head, feet together, and arms down, exhale. Just one set of those. And then this is the mid-class Shavasana, so you could lay down. So if you notice, or I think my practice is pretty intense. I do the poses to my maximum intensity, but I take my mini Shavasanas very seriously. I think if you skip them, you'll get done a lot faster, but you're kind of missing the best part and the most important part. And I think here I adjusted the camera because the rest of the practice is mostly on the floor. So you could stay in your Shavasana. And the next pose is going to be wind relieving pose. Right knee into the chest, pressing right thigh into right abdomen. So you can expand your belly into your thigh on your inhale. Switch sides, left leg in, expand your belly into your thigh. Both legs in, wrapping the arms around the knees. You could grab opposite elbow, lengthen through the entire spine, even the cervical spine. And then extend the arms, extend the legs. Interlace or hook your thumbs and do a sit-up. 2 exhales, the way they do it in the Ghosh tradition. And then come to lie on your belly for the spine strengthening sequence. So this also comes right from the Ghosh 26 postures. Chin forward, lift the chin and the chest off the mat. My feet are together, toes touching, heels touching, inner thighs towards each other. Lay down, mini shavasana, look to the left. Heels flap open. Second set, chin forward, arms back. I like to lift up on the exhale. Pubic bone presses down, lifting my arms back, chest up as much as possible. And coming down, look to the right. Heels flap open. Breathe some space into your low back. And take your arms underneath you, palms face down on the mat. Pinkies touching. Lift the right leg. So left leg is staying relaxed as much as possible. It's kind of hard to isolate here. And you're lifting your right leg from inner butt, inner thigh. Lower the right leg, lift the left leg. Try to relax the right leg as much as possible as you lift the left leg, and trying to keep left hip bone down a little bit. Both legs down, feet together, toes touch, heels touch. Lift both legs together. Press your palms down. Keep lifting up and lower down. Take mini shavasana. Heels flap open, arms by your side, look to the left. Second set, chin forward, wiggle your arms, palms face down, pinkies, fingers touch under your body. Right leg lifts, left leg stays relaxed, trying to keep both hip bones down. Switch sides, right leg lowers, left leg lifts. Finding as much strength as you can along the back of the body. Left leg down, prepare, maybe adjust, and then lifting both legs together. Toes and heels are squeezing towards each other, inner thighs squeezing towards each other. I'm not very good at this pose, but I think it's really important. Relax, look to the right, heels flap open, relax completely. Shalabhasana, chin forward, arms out like a Y in front of you, palms face down. Deep inhale. And as you exhale, everything lifts, arms and legs. So inner thighs are touching, toes and heels touching. And lower down, take a break. Look to the left. Chin forward, arms forward, palms down, second set. Legs glued together like one leg. It's like you're Pocahontas jumping off of a cliff. Lower down, look to the right. Chin forward, arms out like a T, palms face down. For a twist, left leg lifts and drops over to the right. And then if you really try to lengthen your tailbone down here, then, well, at least for me, I get a really nice crack in my low back. Back to center, right leg lifts and drops over to the left. And again, lengthen the tailbone down so that you feel the twist. Almost resetting your hips here. Bend your right arm like a goalpost and roll onto your right side so you can stretch the front of the shoulder and the chest. Back to center, left arm like a goalpost and roll onto your left side. And back to center. Lift yourself up onto your knees for hero pose, reclined hero. So feet are outside the hips. Coming back, trying to lengthen through the front of the hips. So as I like to take my arms over my head. And here, again, I like to drop the tailbone down so I'm getting even more of a stretch along the front of the body. And that way there's no pinching in your low back. Reversing the way you came in, top of the head first. Elbows rolling up. And then you can sit on your heels, knees together. Arms over the head for Kurmasana. Trying to keep the arms behind the ears the whole time. So really shooting your fingertips forward. Imagine that your forehead could be the first thing to touch the mat. So it's really active and difficult. It's not a child's pose. Then after your forehead touches, you can let the knife edge of your pinky fingers touch the floor, but still the fingertips are shooting forward and you're trying to lengthen your tailbone back while you lengthen your fingers forward. So it's not a passive pose. And then trying to reverse, keeping the arms behind the ears in one piece. And take a moment. Next is Ustrasana. So feet could be hips width, hands to the low back. Lift the chest as much as possible, and then squeeze the butts and the hips forward. Hands to the heels, fingers to the inside, thumbs to the outside. Keep lifting the chest up and sending the hips forward so you really get complete front side body opening. Hands to the hips. Lift the chest to come out. Head comes up last. And then you can rest in kneeling position. You could take Jalandhara Bandha here. Close your eyes. Second set, Ustrasana. Hands to the hips. Lift the gaze, lift the chest as much as possible. Squeeze the butt, send the hips forward. Fingers to the inside, thumbs to the outside. Actively lifting the chest up the entire time. Reversing the way you came in, hands to the hips, head comes up last. Take Jalandhara Bandha. Inhale, lift the chest, tuck the chin. Retain the breath. And release. And here, come back onto your knees, hands and knees, for Pincha Mayurasana. So you could just do a dolphin here if you prefer, but if you have Pincha Mayurasana, I usually hold for 20 breaths. Actively pushing the floor away, trying to move my face further away from the mat, if that makes sense. And coming down with control for puppy pose. Fingers forward, chin to mat, chest to mat. And here I start to depart from all those kind of traditional Ghosh postures to get into some deeper back bends. So from downward dog, you step the right foot forward, bend the left knee down. Reach the arms up, inhale, lift the chest, and then bend the elbows back like goalposts. And I like to think about opening my pinky fingers back as I lift the chest. And coming up, right hand to the floor, side bend. Left arm reaches over the left ear. So you can really lengthen through left side body. And I usually spend quite a few breaths here. Take your left hand to your right ankle, reach back with your right hand and hold your left foot, pulling the heel towards the butt. So again, you get a really nice lengthening along the front of the left hip. Release. Kick your right leg forward into Hanumanasana. So I like to keep my like a micro bend in my front leg so that I really feel lengthening in the left hip flexor. Arms up if you like. For your hands, you could look up. Hands on either side of your right leg. Curl the back toes under. Send your right leg high for three-legged dog. And then bend your knees, stack your hips, flip your dog. So you could even do a full wheel here if you wanted to. Back body presses up into the front body. Keep lifting your pelvis up. Open through the heart. And return to three-legged dog. And right leg meets the left, downward dog. Other side, left foot forward, right knee down. So I really am pressing into the top of my right foot here. Arms up, lift the chest, bend the elbows back like goalposts. I'm sending my pinky fingers back. And then lifting the chest to come up. Right or left hand down, right arm up and over so that I can lengthen through the front of the right hip flexor. Trying to keep the chest lifted. Right hand to left ankle. Reach the left hand back and hold the back foot, pulling the heel towards the butt. Returning to Kapyasana, and from here sliding the left leg forward into Hanumanasana. Maybe even keeping like a micro bend in that front leg. Reaching the arms up, prayer hands, look up. Hands down. Curl the back toes under. Send the left leg high, three-legged dog, inhale. Bend the knees, stack the hips, and flip the dog, pelvis up. Complete front side body opening. And returning to three-legged dog, left leg lifts and lowers. Downward dog. Right leg forward, left knee down. So again, low lunge. And this time we'll take another back bend, arms up. This time the arms will stay straight. So it really helps me to think about the inner thighs squeezing towards the midline here as the chest lifts up, fingertips back, really lifting the chest as much as possible as I keep sending the hips forward. So it's actually a really strengthening pose. Lifting the chest to come up. Kicking forward into Hanumanasana and then going right into a pigeon pose. So bending the right knee in with the heel close to the body. Reaching back, grabbing the back foot with my left hand, turn the fingers forward to lengthen through left hip flexor. And then I usually do king pigeon here. But you could stay at whatever step you want to stay at. Reversing, hands on either side of your right knee, three-legged dog, inhale. And coming forward, to three-legged tabletop and chin stand. Or you could stay in three-legged table, of course. Reversing into upward dog and coming back into downward dog for the second side. Left foot forward, right knee down, really pressing into the top of the right foot. Lifting the arms up, lift the chest, lift the gaze, reach back. Lift the chest to come up. And find Hanumanasana, kicking the left leg forward. Moving into pigeon pose. So you could slide onto the left hip, reach back for the right leg, fingertips forward like the toes. Lengthen through the front of the right hip. And then if you like, you could also take the full king pigeon or any other variation you know. Releasing, hands on either side of your left knee. Three-legged dog, inhale. Coming forward, three-legged plank. Right knee down. And if you like, chin stand or chest stand. And on the second set, I usually try to tap my forehead with my toes. Releasing into upward dog. And from there, you could take a child's pose, knees wide, feet together, hips back. So by this point, you should be nice and ready for any of the deeper back bends you want to do. So the next thing I do is usually 5 drop backs. And a lot of times I do them with the wall, and I don't worry too much about whether or not I end up touching the wall. Sometimes I touch, sometimes I don't. Feet could be as wide as the mat. I like to keep my toes pointed forward though, because that is a more stable position. And you could also walk all the way down the wall, or you don't have to use the wall at all. Two. Three. Four. And last one. So after that, I like to do some hip circles and kind of flossing through the spine or unwinding the spine. I do 5 circles in one direction, and then I switch sides, 5 circles in the other direction. And then this kind of ringing motion of the spine. So my arms are really relaxed and I'm almost slapping my body with a lot of momentum. 10 times. And then my final most intense back bend. So starting with Dhanurasana, bow pose, grabbing the feet from the pinky toe side. Pubic bone presses down, chin forward. Exhale, kick into the hands. And then my knees are quite wide, but I'm actively trying to move them closer together and continuously kicking from the inner thighs into the hands. And release. And here is where I usually windshield wiper the feet from side to side, but you could just take a mini Shavasana. So for my second Dhanurasana, I do a flipped grip. Chin forward, inhale. And on the exhale, lift up. Bend the elbows, draw them forward. Tops of the feet towards the forehead. Kick into the hands to extend the arms. Trying to fill the chest up as much as possible. And releasing one leg at a time. Taking a break. I always feel really buzzy after I do this pose. I love it. My whole body vibrating. And finally, feet as wide as the mat for King Cobra, hands under the shoulders, peeling the chin, the chest, and the belly off the mat, trying to keep the pubic bone down, knees bent, feet together, toes touch, and then walking the hands in onto the fingertips. I'm still keeping my pubic bone down as my feet touch my forehead, and unwinding, taking a break. Flipping onto the back, feet together, knees wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. Knees together, lengthen through the back. So I press into the tops of my thighs, and then I pull the knees in towards the chest, grabbing opposite elbows, lengthening through the entire spine. Knees close to each other. Happy baby, holding the outsides of the feet, rocking from side to side. And from here, a supine twist, which I like to do in an eagle wrap. So right leg wraps over the left, knees go to the left, right arm goes to the right, and the gaze goes to the right. back to center, left leg over right for the eagle wrap, legs go over to the right, gaze goes to the left, and I'm using my right hand to assist my legs, my knees down a little more. And that's the last thing I do in my practice before Shavasana. So feet as wide as the mat, toes can flap open, palms face up.